What's going on, guys? My name is Shadosha the Fly Guy, and welcome to the Snake Pit Podcast. This week, I wanted to do something great and kick off the League of Legends season with an interview with newcomer and top laner extraordinaire. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Odoamne on the microphone with me today. I'm excited to talk to him. I heard he was a big fan of swimming and his new team, so without any further ado, let's dive into that. But actually, before we do that, just a heads up, you might experience a slight audio issue, so there might be an awkward cut. Don't worry about it. Everything is all good. The podcast is still dope. Check it out. You're going to love it. Mic, check 1, 2, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Snake Pit. My name is Shadosha the Fly Guy, and I got the luxury, of course, again, joining me. League of Legends is starting up real soon. I'm hyped for that. LCS EU split is coming up. I've got our top lane Odoamne on the board. Odoamne, how you doing, my brother? Did I say your name right? I was gonna say oh damn, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get in trouble for that. So I didn't want to be that guy. Hopefully I said it right.
You kind of messed it up, so but it's okay.
See, I wanted to get it right? Because I saw this video and it was cracking me up. Literally, somebody said, I think it was like Dominique or something like that, and you made the funniest shrug in the world. You was like, all right, I guess this is not gonna happen today. So I wanted to be the one guy. I wanted to be the one guy to get it right. But anyway, that's all good. How's everything been going for you? You look nice, you look cozy, you having fun in the house. Hopefully everything's good for you.
Yeah, everything's going great. The house is great, and having a lot of fun with the guys, and the work's going well. So
yeah, it looks like you guys are already hard at work in the background. I see you guys getting your games on, hoodies on, jerseys on. Hopefully I didn't disrupt the scrims and the practices too much. I heard they've been going pretty well for you, by the way, so hopefully that's a good thing for you.
yeah, they're going okay, but no, he didn't disrupt anything. We were done earlier, and now it's kind of our time off, so we're okay.
All right, that's good. So talk about the transition for you. I know you're on a new team, and if there's one thing I know about you is that you really, really care about composition, not just being able to play very well with your team, but, you like to go out, you like to have fun, you like to get along with your team. How's that coming along for you?
I mean, the gang is nice. I've played with Kasing before, like 3 years ago, I think.
Right.
But everyone else is... I kind of knew them a bit. I didn't play with them together, but when you practice alone, you kind of start meeting pretty much every player that you can meet, and I kind of like... we're like acquaintances. I mean, we were acquaintances before we got together, but we're meshing well, pretty well, personality-wise.
Right.
So everything's going fine on that aspect.
I like that, man. You got a fun personality. You're a little bit of a trash talker. I don't want to use this term trash talker. I don't think that's fair. I don't know. Maybe you'll correct me, of course, but I feel like you're a great showman. And what's dope about you is that, I mean, obviously you have the right to be that way. Your top lane skill is ridiculous, but how do I say this? I feel like because of your confidence, you own anything that you do, anything that your team does. You're not afraid to praise them. You're not afraid to talk about what you've done right, what you need to work on. If your bracket is easy and stuff like that, where'd that confidence come from, man? Because I know you have a competitive background, which we're going to get back into. I definitely want to hear about this swimming thing. I didn't know you swam. I love swimming. I don't do it enough because I can't stay afloat, bro. It's embarrassing. We'll talk about that too. But how do you get the competitive mind frame to just keep on getting everybody on board and moving forward with you?
Well, it's just kind of, I've been about like the swimming background. I've been like a competitor ever since I was like 5, so that's kind of one of the main driving forces in my life, just kind of competing and winning. But regarding, the fact that, I have the confidence to like back it up, like trash talk a bit and all of that stuff, it's mostly because, for like years, I was kind of a silent guy. I wasn't really active on social media, like talking, being a voice on like and making kind of like banter and trash talking left and right. But I feel like, the industry, at least in EU, everyone complains that there's no like storylines and everything is boring. So I feel like since, I've been consistently one of the better ones, I kind of can back it up in a way, because if I'm just a new kid on the block and I just start trash talking people left and right, then I'm kind of like a clown,
True.
So
True.
So yeah, like I kind of feel like people enjoy it. Like it's more of a fun change because I kind of get to be myself as well, because I'm kind of like a sarcastic guy, and I don't know, I'm just like, I do a lot of like ironic comments and sarcastic comments. So I feel like the community kind of likes that, so I'm just gonna keep on rolling with that.
No, I think that's actually the best way to kind of what's the words I'm looking for. Build your brand, build your persona. I mean, to be the best and to be skillful, that's one thing, but to be that guy that's relatable, I don't know. I feel like that's best because then you draw in an audience that's like, okay, I want to work with this guy. I want to. It makes you. It makes for a great team leader if that's what you want to be, or just somebody that they know that they can depend on. And I have to say, definitely, checking out the things that you've done in your personality, I feel like it makes for a good captain, a good leader, just definitely a great player to play alongside. So again, excuse me. One of the things that I've always loved, me personally, I don't know if you know this about me, but I did compete myself. I was a competitive player. Not League of Legends. I was actually from the fighting game community, something I love to death. So I know about the competitive mind frame. Only difference is like what I was doing is like a single player game. So I don't really have the luxury like you to, develop a team and work on getting everybody on your level. How do you keep that competitive mind frame, and then how do you go ahead and translate that to other people? I mean, I guess in a sense you don't have to do too much of like translating your beliefs to other people because I mean everybody here is a pro player, but how do you align yourself with your players and then create that synergy that you guys use to crush your opponents?
It's kind of like a give and take situation where everyone kind of has like a different mindset, and everyone has like a different set of values and beliefs that they just like believe that that's the best way to play, and everyone kind
Yeah,
of has
yeah.
to give away from himself to kind of match each other
Right. Wait,
for like
real
pretty
quick, I
much the
know
greater good.
that wall comes up. You were talking about. I'm just bringing this up because I was watching an interview with you, and you were talking about a wall that comes up. Back when we were talking about H2K, which we'll get into in just a moment. But I know one of the biggest things. This is what I appreciated about you is the fact that when you can identify that wall, and the first thing you want to do is break that down so that people don't mentally plateau and they develop better. So that's one thing I found really cool about you. But continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. So it's pretty much that like everyone has to kind of just give away from themselves and kind of get this common mind frame where everyone just believes in the same thing, and everyone thinks that the best way to proceed is in the same way. So this way there's you kind of eliminate like communication issues, like decision making issues, and all of this stuff. And what I try to like bring from like my years with H2K and stuff, because I don't see myself as a veteran, but kind of everyone
I
sees
mean,
me
three
as this
years,
like veteran.
man. 3 years?
Yeah.
You don't see yourself as
And
a vet? Okay, all right, I'm sorry. I'm getting hyped. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. So I'm kind of like a veteran, I guess, and I've been coached by like a really good guy, and he taught me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the things that I kind of need to bring to people. This sort of like leadership aspect and experience that I can, kind of show to everyone else today. Because we kind of have two rookies in Xerxes and Niski. They haven't played competitively that long.
Mm-hmm.
While I've been through like multiple patches, multiple seasons, and I've been through
Right.
like, not good times for example, for my lane or for the game, and even like the worst ones. And we
Right.
always had to like kind of adapt to that. And I feel like that's something that I can like bring to the squad.
I got you. And you were talking about coaches. Your coach Peter, very well known, somebody that I have to say the league really appreciates and favors. How are you two working together to kind of how do I say create that professional atmosphere for rookie players like Xerxes and Niski? How are you guys developing that so that they're ready for this split coming up next week?
Um, well, right now it's kind of like different because I've been coached by like the same guy for 4 years now, so I kind of have to get used to like Peter's more analytical point of view
Right.
about the game, and like he has a whole different view than what my old coach had.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is kind of bring in stuff that like my old coach taught me, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like explain to him like different plays or different aspects and what I believe is like good and wrong, and he kind of like uh trans not translate, but like that he kind of shows it to the other guys,
Right.
because he's still like the authority figure. And excuse me, he's still like the authority figure, and we can't really like go away by I can't really assume that role. So I'm just kind of like trying to give my input to him like separately, and he's trying to like show it to everyone else as well.
Damn, dude. Like I don't know if people are really gonna grasp what he just said. You know how much I don't think people understand how much effort that takes to check one's ego. Right? I mean, look, you've been working with somebody for years. You have this philosophy, and it's been working for you. You've been winning, whether you like it or not. You're a veteran. You're gonna have to hold that. Okay, I'm just saying. You got to own it. That's you. And because of that, okay, here I am in a new place, a new platform, new coach I'm not used to, a couple of rookie players. Now, let me dial back and share. This is for you guys listening. Let me share my ideals and beliefs and take what my coach has, align those, and then come up with a new process that we can develop for a new season. Man, that's great. I actually love that a lot. So with that being said, let's talk about January 19th. LCS Split is starting. First match is Fnatic, a team that you're familiar with. Okay, again, they did have a roster switch, a slight one, but one nonetheless. What are your thoughts going into this match coming up with your new team? What are you looking for? And again, new squad, new season. How are you going to tackle this?
I think I answered this one just like before you asked me this one. Should I just answer it again? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the mic was messed up. Hey, we're going to cut this part out. The mic was messed up, so it didn't pick it up. That's why we're doing it again. But yeah, please, pretty please.
Okay, sure. So yeah, like I think in coming into this split, they're like the strongest team so far because they changed only one person, so their like synergy and team spirit and all of that stuff is there. Like their individual talent is pretty big. I think their players are really good, and even though they have two rookies or had two rookies last year, they progressed immensely, and I think they're really top contenders for their role in Europe for this year. So I think going into this split as the first game against them will be like pretty hard because us, like other teams, we don't have the same level of synergy as they did.
Right. Again, new squad, new coach.
Yeah, everyone's kind of trying to figure out their playstyle and how they want to like approach the game. Mm-hmm. So they have the edge over us on that one, but I think that if we manage to fix our issues and stuff, I think it's gonna be like a pretty even match, and I think we have a chance to. I mean, I'm not saying that we're definitely. I don't want to like approach it as like we're weaker or whatever, but I think like if we fix our issues, we have like a pretty good shot at like taking them down.
All right, fair enough. And also, let's keep in mind that the format did switch. We're going back to the old split format. This is a best of one, not a best of two. Given everything that you said, do you feel like that puts you at an advantage position, a disadvantage position? I mean, how are you adjusting around that?
Well, best of one kind of like upsets all the players in a way because everyone loved having a lot of stage time and just having the more games in like a series, a best of two or a best of three, you kind of have this more of a consistency factor that even though you messed up one game, if you're the better team, you're gonna win, like in the best of three format, for example. So going into best of one is gonna be a bit more unpredictable. You have less games on stage and you kind of have less of the less showings of your like true level, because that's kind of what everyone, including us, the players and the teams, used as as a good mark for how good you're doing and how good you're developing this season. So I think moving into best of one is kind of just disappointing in a way because you just kind of get less games overall, you get less games to see how good you can be.
See, I appreciate that. This is a man who doesn't care about sleep, wants to play, adjust his play style, learn, adapt, move forward. Fortunately, he won't have that opportunity to do so. But either way, I mean, random factor aside, I think you guys still have what it takes to take it because you do have that competitive edge. I want to go back to H2K, 3 years on the chopping block. You've been doing this for a long time. Talk about that experience for me real fast, please.
Well, H2K is kind of my breakthrough into the competitive scene. That's the team I qualified into the Pro League with, and I've been with them ever since. So, it's kind of like the team that made me what I am today.
Wait, they were the ones that picked you up. Like they're the one that made you say, "All right, I'm done swimming." Right? Is that the one? Because I'm still hype on this swimming thing. That's dope to me. But is that the team?
Not really. Like the
Okay,
thing is,
just making sure.
before I started, playing league and taking it more seriously, I kind of already stopped swimming. Like it was kind of like a 1 year gap between when I started swimming and when I went pro in
Oh,
League of
okay.
Legends.
Okay, got you. All right, I'm sorry, proceed. Continue.
So yeah, like with H2K is the team that we got into like pro league with. Like we were back in like amateur league. We were like playing together and all of this stuff. So we got into the LCS and I kind of decided I stick to them for a while because their projects were like most of the time really good. So it was like a good experience for me because I got to play. The first year into LCS with them was kind of like a formative year where we didn't really have a lot of like talent or superstars, so
Right.
it was up to like us and teamwork to kind of win games because we weren't really like exceptional players. We were just like all of us were new, so it was all about like team play to get better. And then the following years we started being like more and more invested in like a serious project and getting good players and like having stars on our roster. So
Right.
you could say that I've been through like all the stages. And comparing like Splyce now, it's kind of like in the first year when I was like with H2K where we were just kind of I wouldn't say we're not like superstars now, but we're not
Right.
really like these like the like top dogs. We're just
Got
we're
you.
we're like good, but I feel like the identity we kind of have now is still, or the progress that we need to show this season is still kind of similar to like my first year in H2K where we just needed to work on ourselves, drop egos, and just focus on improving like our team play aspect.
Well, what you know now, do you feel like the pace of that education, that learning experience, is definitely breaking the barriers of egos, which can be difficult? Do you feel like that is going faster than your time at H2K, or is it pretty much the same moderate pace? I mean, again, it's still one of the things you have to work with, and you did say that it feels like you're back at year one with the fact that you have to deal with that stuff. But given that your veteran knowledge, do you feel like it's moving at a much faster pace now, or do you feel like it's kind of the same?
Um, I mean, given like the fact that I have more experience to deal with it, I would say that it's gonna be like faster in the long term, just because I can recognize situations that happened in the past, and I just have more experience to deal with situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, I would say it's kind of going at the same pace because it's just like a huge grind that everyone needs to put a lot of time in and a lot of effort, and yeah, just drop egos and uh, try to accept criticism and just work together for like uh, a greater good.
That's a good way to put it. All right, next question for you. Going into the season, it's just starting. Fnatic aside, and egos aside, of course. Of course, I want you guys to do good. I'm sure you believe you're going to do good, but I want to know what your expectations for the season is, as well as who you're looking out for. What other teams do you want to keep your eyes on? Just because they might have some information for you. Who's to watch? Who's how do I say this properly? I want to get my words right. Who are the teams to watch in your opinion, and where do you see yourself placing?
Mm, I think the top teams in Europe for this year will be G2, Schalke, Fnatic, and Misfits are also pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bit of roster changes from last year, but their core is still there, and I think they're still pretty solid. So I would say that among those, there's also us. So I think that's kind of be like a clear top five.
Got you.
The order is not really like it's really hard to pinpoint order because of so many roster moves, but I think that's gonna be like the contenders I think for this year.
Got you. Okay. Good to know. Those are the people to watch out for. Although I still think that they're going to knock at least two of those people off the list. Hopefully, you knock them all off the list. So let's talk about this swimming, man, because I've been actually waiting for this part for a moment. How long have you been doing that for? I know, again, you did that before you started this, and I love it so much because I come from an athletic background myself. I played football, or I should say, American football, way
Hmm.
before I got into competing. And what I love about sports, especially a team sport, again, I don't know if you consider swimming a team sport, but what I like about that stuff is that you have that competitive drive. You know what that's like. You know what competition and doing the hard work is. And to bring that into something like competitive gaming, again, the beauty of it is, I love it when you said it. Man, I was playing League of Legends. This was a cartoon game for me. I didn't expect to go anywhere with this thing because I thought it was stupid. I thought it was boring, but then I tried it and it was challenging. I loved that. But I mean, to get back on topic, the swimming. You've been doing that for so long. How long have you been doing it? And I mean, do you miss it at all? Do you at least like cool down with it at all? Anything?
Um, I kind of miss it sometimes. Sometimes I kind of like I feel like once every summer or the time when I would have like my competitions, I kind of get this like in
The
a way
itch.
I kind of
Hey.
have yeah I kind of have this like sense of like withdrawal, like it's kind of like withdrawal kind of kicks in and it just makes me miss it a lot.
Right.
But I've been doing it for ever since I was 5, and I did it for 13 years.
Mm.
That's kind of like I quit when I turned like 18 because I pursued like higher education, and like I went to like a really good high school, one of like the best ones in my country. So I
Right.
was really going for like this more academic background than an athletic background because until like an age when I was like 15, 16, I could like balance it in a way where I could study a lot and also work hard in like my swimming routines and
Uh
stuff.
huh.
But as soon as I got in like the higher grades, it kind of became more and more difficult to juggle that, and I kind of had to make a decision because like my grades weren't like lacking, but the time I had to put into education kind of started hurting my growth as a competitor in swimming. So it was kind of disappointing for me because my whole like philosophy and drive was about swimming or sports was like if you're not getting better, if you're not the best, then it's worthless to do it.
Fair enough.
So I kind of started seeing myself as stopping to progress. I wasn't like the top dog anymore, and that kind of like bruised my ego a lot. And
Mm.
I kept giving it like tries. I kept trying to put less time into education and try as hard as I can to keep my swimming background going, but the fact that like I didn't really have a proper coaching staff and
Right.
swimming and stuff, like we didn't really have a great infrastructure back then. It wasn't really like something that was long term, and if you were even thinking long term about like financials and all of this stuff, you wouldn't really
Right.
like there wasn't really like any room for growth and stuff. So as much as it hurt to like give it up because that was like my life back then. Like I would spend like 6 hours in the pool, like 2 hours in the gym every day. So that was like my lifestyle back then, and it was really hard to give it up. But I had to if I wanted to like grow as a person and kind of like ensure myself like a proper future.
Got you. Do you feel like that helped you develop a level of humility? Again, I keep talking about it. The fact that you you're a confident person, but as much as I won't say talk trash, as much as you state things like it is, you still keep that humble mindset about you. You're not too affected by ego. Do you feel like you getting away from swimming, or you seeing that ability to do what you love kind of dwindle after 13 years? Do you feel like that is what kind of brought out that humility? Or maybe it was something like, again, when you transition, what was it, Need for Speed that you played right after that? I think something like that, right? I'm not exactly sure. I know you played a
No,
racing
I
game.
mean, no, I was playing like no, even when I was streaming, I was still like my off time was pretty much with just random games. I would just play like Need for Speed or whatever
Got you.
game. But
Got you.
it was like League of Legends was like my first kind of like professional game where I actually like decided to like put time into it.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like getting back to your question, I feel like the whole humility aspect kind of comes from swimming because like if you're stuck for 13 years, you're like stuck for like 4+ hours every day in a pool. Like
Yeah.
you're like you're like in an environment where you don't really have like oxygen as much, because you always have to gasp for air, and that whole time, those 4 hours, you're like stuck like under the water, and the only person that you can like talk to yourself talk to is like
Is
yourself,
yourself. Yeah.
like yeah, like you're 4 hours in like in a way, and 4+ hours in like solitude every day. Like it's only yourself, it's only your mind. So that kind of like helped me in a way become like more humble and just like achieve a level of like mindfulness and empathy and the capacity to like let go of stuff just because like in those 13 years, pretty much in those like 4 hours of like 4+ hours of swimming, I experienced pretty much every emotion I think I was like ever like possible to like experience, like anger, sadness,
Yeah.
happiness, love, humility, and all of this stuff. Like I don't know, like I feel like that sport that I did, like that has the most, like, it has like a huge impact on your body because it develops you a lot. But I feel
That's a
like
fact.
the thing that gets affected the most in swimming is like your mind,
Your
because
mental.
you're pretty much by yourself. You're like in a pool and you have no one else but yourself.
I want to try to bridge a couple of things together to help bring it full circle because, there was a point in time where you kind of went through the motions, even with League of Legends. How did you keep yourself, can't believe I'm using this phrase, how did you keep yourself afloat mentally in a position where, you're trapped in a room all the time. Now you've got this stress, this anxiety to keep up that level of play, and sometimes it can get to you. How did you go about conditioning yourself so that even when things didn't seem so great, you were still able to perform at the highest level?
I mean, it's complicated and it's hard to like pinpoint it. I feel like the fact that competing and winning is the thing that the main driving force behind me is
Right.
something that helps me a lot. But there's like I had a lot of like breaking points. There's like behind every good team there's also like the really difficult and tough moments where you just
Right.
feel like giving up, and there's been a lot of those moments that like no one really knows about. It's like there's times where even though you're like the rank one team in the league, you don't win a single game in practice for a week.
Yeah.
Like there were like moments where we were rank one in Europe, and I think 1 week of scrims we lost 35 games in a row, and we didn't win a single game, and we went into like the next week and we like won 2-0. So that was like it's it's hard because like when those moments happen, like the things I kind of just like fell back to were you know like sports psychologists helped me a lot, and like I believe I'm like a deep believer in like psychology and
Hmm.
and mindfulness and all of that stuff. So when I'm feeling like down and exhausted and like I feel like mentally exhausted, I kind of fall back to to talking to like trusted people, or fall back to like meditation and mindfulness, or
Right.
like even talking to loved ones and all of that stuff. Because as much as like the fact that I was like 13 years in a pool by myself kind of helped my mind
Right.
develop this sort of like resiliency.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like you can still survive with it and like do well with it, but I feel like there's a bigger effort when like some other people give you like this reassurance, or even when you like meditate and then you just let go of things and you just realize that hey, things aren't really as bad.
Okay. When you transition into a new team, I feel like that's something, and I'm glad you said that too. I feel like that's something that great coaches should know how to convey to not just rookies but newcomers onto a team. Do you feel like these are discussions that you also have with your coaches? Is this a philosophy that you share, maybe with your coaches, or they give to you and that you pass on to your team? Because again, this is a new team for you, but these are some really dope philosophies. Are these things that they also get a grasp of as well, or that you get to pass on to them as well, so that you all succeed, or at least stay in that level-headed mind, that so that you all are working together? Is that something that you guys do?
We're trying, but since everyone has like been in a different background than me, it's kind of hard for them to like accept this. I'm not really like imposing them or brute forcing it on them. What I'm trying to do is just kind of, in a way, inspire them to kind of share my point of view. Like, for example, right now, what I'm doing is like I'm listening to, Finding Mastery podcast, and I'm trying to like, recommend it to everyone that like I feel like it's great for personal growth and having
Yeah.
a healthy mindset and attitude that's relying on like leadership and teamwork. So that's kind of like what I'm like trying to inspire other people to do. But like if I feel like the best place for a person to come out with like ideas like this is just from like within. I can't really tell them, hey, you should uh look deeper into yourself and have this like try to achieve this like sense of peace with yourself, or like let go of egos and anger. Like I feel like if I impose that onto someone, it will exactly have the opposite effect. I'm just trying to in a way lead by example.
Right. Right. Actually, I'm glad you put it that way. If there's one thing, I was talking to actually a couple of my peers about this. They're in a competitive space as well, and one of the things that I told them, especially because they play on teams, and they like to. And again, I appreciate you for doing this, because you said it even earlier. Like, you're a veteran, but you don't see yourself that way. I feel like that plays a major part, just simply based off the fact that all right, you can impose this thing. Well, I've been here for years. I know what I'm doing. And then, like, that's ego. That's not going to help anybody. I feel like that puts them in a position where now they feel like because you think you're better than everybody, and then again, you're the new kid on the block, you're going to run this team. And that actually kind of creates a detachment from you, the other players, the coaches. So for you to have that mantra, that philosophy that, I'm a humble guy, I'm a player just like the rest of you guys, I always preached, and I appreciate that you do the same, because, every champion does this. And again, that's why I say that you're a true seasoned veteran. They put into somebody's mind that, we're in this together. These are the trials that I have to go through, and I'm willing to go through this with you guys. I think that's really awesome. I thought we just had a really great top laner. We got a motivational speaker on the team as well. That is so sick. So with that said, I know you guys got to get back to practice, and I want you guys to win. Or you know what I'm saying? I know you guys are playing. See, let me make sure I get this right. You guys are playing Fnatic, and I want you guys to catch that body. So any final thoughts before we get out of here? I want you guys to get back to practice.
Nothing much. We're just gonna, we have like another week and a half to practice for the match against Fnatic, and we're gonna do our best. And I'm really glad I got to do this with you. It was like a nice break from all the practice.
Hey, I'm glad. See, I wanted to do, and I'm gonna get yelled at for this later, but I don't care. Shout out to everybody watching. Marty, I still love you. Please don't yell at me too much. But I definitely wanted to get away from just talking about, because a lot of people do this, and I think, especially for growth, and so that the people listening can understand how growth works. I wanted to get away from the technical jargon and just talking about video games and all of that stuff, man. Real life is dope. Swimming is even better. I came from California, man. You don't know how much I miss it. I used to go on the beach and just swim laps. I could run, but I wanted to go swimming. So I'm going to miss that, but either way, I don't want to do any more talking. Odoamne, it was an honor and a privilege to chat with you. It's been too much fun. Thank you for your time. Get back to work, man. I got love for you. I'll be checking you out this weekend, all right?
Yeah, thanks. I will. See you. Thanks for having me.